late June, with temperatures climbing into the hundreds. Laura Drennan walked her new town during the afternoon, the heat pressing right through the soles of her tennis shoes. She slathered on sunblock and wore the only hat she could find in the moving boxes, a stupendous lime green foam visor emblazoned with a cartoon frog slamming a tequila shot, which emerged from under a pile of shoes, a faint tread mark on the brim. Her best guess, it had belonged to the girlfriend, she of the jean skirts and pencil hips, acquired on a little clandestine trip down to Tijuana with Charlie. And so Laura wore it. Why not? As she walked in a high-stepping stomp to ward off the diamondbacks she knew were coiled in the foxtails, though so far she'd seen only skittish lizards and grasshoppers, plumes of gnats, quail darting under the brush. Despite the sunblock, her arms and legs darkened to the color of a terracotta bowl. Even the tender band of skin on her now ringless ring finger had faded. Dust nested in the cuff of her sock, leaving a geologic circle above her ankle bone. In her new neighborhood, a subdivision of 1970s and 80s homes on large lots behind the high school and the town ball field, she set one foot on the gravel berm, one on the pavement, memorizing street names: Rojo, Blanco, Yucca, Dry Run, Bottle Brush, Alameda. Her street was Arrowhead. Her white clapboard two-bedroom rental with puce-colored trim had belonged to an old woman who lost her mind and dug holes in her yard at night. This, according to Laura's mail carrier, Maud, a woman Laura's mother's age, who stopped on the porch to chat and shouted questions as if boxing Laura's ears. Laura skirted strangers' yards, cataloging oddities: a mannequin head with a flowered swim cap, soda cans wedged into chain link in a Z shape, a three-legged dog cooling itself in a play pool, a man on a Segway pausing to peer into neighbors' garbage bins, a child's fire engine toppled on a wheelchair ramp. She walked, and her mind whiplashed from present to past, trying to process the changes. Small-town Sycamore, Arizona instead of San Diego. 4,000 feet instead of sea level. Gravel berms instead of sidewalks. Lobed cactus instead of ice plants. Bushy pines and junipers instead of eucalyptus and symmetrical rows of skinny palms. Year 2009, almost 20 years out from her high school graduation. She walked, smelling dust and hot pine needles instead of the briny fog of the Pacific. She bent to collect rocks the way she used to collect seashells, and her pockets grew gritty with sediment in the seams. She walked in a land of strangers instead of in the land of her parents, her older brother and nephews, her colleagues and friends, her husband of 11 years. She walked in her alien landscape, in her ridiculous visor, and she told herself, "Buck up, Drennan, you chicken shit. This ain't summer camp." When she stopped walking, she sat on the couch, ignoring her huge to-do list. Unpack, tweak syllabuses for fall semester, reply to new department chair's week-old email about her IT setup, research and work on article, talk to neighbors, get shit together. Instead, she watched baseball and tracked the pitches. Sliders, split fingers, cutters, as she cupped her fingers around an imaginary ball. Nights cooled down enough to open the window, and she could hear cheers and the muffled voice of an announcer on the PA, remembering how she and her brother had narrated their backyard practice sessions. "Drennan throws a nasty slider in the dirt. Oh, and he chases." Through a slit in the blinds, she could see the glow of the ball field over the tops of the sycamores and cottonwoods. And she thought about walking over, but didn't. Instead, she obsessively checked her email, or read forums about venomous snakes, poison ivy, and black widow spiders, or investigated reasons for the new ache in her knee. Arthritis? Baker's cyst? Or she browsed